There's hardly a game that has spooked me or my siblings more than Outlast. In Outlast, the Walrider starts as a project. The Murkoff Corporation builds a morphogenic engine, a machine designed to break the human mind down past the point of resistance and rebuild it into something useful, something weaponizable. They run it on patients at Mount Massive Asylum, flooding them with psychological torment until their consciousness becomes malleable enough to bond with a swarm of nanites. The idea is control, a soldier that passes through the walls, a weapon that can't be stopped by anything physical because it isn't fully physical anymore. What they get instead is Billy Hope, a patient whose mind fuses with the swarm and becomes something the Murkoff can no longer contain, or aim. The Walrider tears through the asylum. It doesn't discriminate, it doesn't follow any orders, it follows the logic of what it is, which is a force looking for resistance to pass through. The name itself comes from the Germanic and Norse folklore, the Walrider, sometimes written as the mare, the nightmare, the thing that sits on your chest in the dark, is a night spirit that rides sleeping victims. It causes suffocation, paralysis, dread. You wake up unable to move, unable to call out something pressing down on you that you can't see. The folklore is an explanation for sleep paralysis, the specific terror of being conscious inside a body that won't respond. I deal with this quite frequently. Murkoff took that name and applied it to something they thought they understood. The fact that they named it after a thing from folklore that nobody could ever control should have told them something. Lady Midday is a different kind of old. She doesn't come at night, she comes at noon, in the full heat of summer, to the open fields where people are working the harvest. She appears beautiful. A young woman, sometimes as a whirlwind of dust, sometimes as an old crone depending on who's telling the story. She approaches a worker and begins a conversation, questions, stories, observations, doesn't matter what, because the content was never the point. The point is that you cannot stop talking. You cannot pause, you cannot lose the thread, you cannot give a wrong answer. The moment the conversation falters in the slightest, she takes you, twists your neck, and drives you into madness. Drops you where you stand with heat stroke that the doctors will later call natural causes. She is the personification of what the midday sun does to a body that stops moving and stands in the exposed sun for too long. Folklore built a face for it because a face is easier to fear than temperature. What she and the Walrider share is the same underlying law. They don't pursue, they don't hunt in the conventional sense. They arrive, they make their presence known, and they wait for you to give them an opening. For the Walrider, that opening is a body it can unmake. For Lady Midday, it's silence, hesitation, the moment you run out of words to say. The fields where Lady Midday walks are empty now. Nobody works outside at noon anymore, hardly. Harvest hour comes and the sun hits its peak, and most people are indoors under fluorescent lights inside the four walls that are closing in so slowly they don't register as moving at all. You're waiting for the field to come to you, and it won't. The sun doesn't move. You do. The gym is not a metaphor, it's the literal place where the old rule still applies, where you have to show up, move weight, stay in, and do the work, going past the point where a conversation in your head tries to make you stop. The weights don't speak, it doesn't ask questions, but the second you go still in front of it, you've already lost the thread. Lady Midday doesn't chase anyone, neither does the Walrider. They wait for stillness. You could just not go still. Rock on.